Welcome, Husker Nation. I'm former Husker Blackshirt and 8-year NFL defensive end Adam Carriker, and today I'm going to be your host and narrator for the top plays and moments in the history of Nebraska football. Now let's get right into it, shall we? Let's light this candle. Right off the top at number 25, three of my favorite plays from the 1996 Fiesta Bowl. Florida Gators are backed up. Danny Werfel, bam! Safety, right? Nah, the refs didn't want to give it to us. They marked the ball at the 1-yard line. So what do? One play later, bam! Sack him again. This time it's an undeniable safety. Had they ran another play, we'd have got another safety. And just for some bonus footage, check out this great Lawrence Phillips run. One of the most talented running backs in the history of Nebraska football. Next up at number 24 is Ahman Green taking the first pitch of the game against Colorado to the house. Now, this is a good play, but more than anything, it is great and phenomenal coaching. I never forget, I did an event with Ahman about a year ago, and he told the story leading into this Colorado game. Osborne devised a new way of running the option and a new way of blocking the option after watching film of Colorado. And he said, Ahman, when we run this play, we're going to take it to the house. Check it out and see if Ahman even gets touched.
45, 40, 35, 30. He goes to the 20 to 15. He's going to go for the touchdown. Touchdown. Touchdown.
This is a good play, but more than anything, it's great and phenomenal coaching. At number 23 on our countdown is Quincy Enunwa's 99-yard touchdown reception against Georgia in the Gator Bowl. There has never been a longer pass completed in the history of Nebraska football.
Enunwa. He's going to go 99 yards. 3rd and 14 from the one. Back to throw is Armstrong. Has some time, looks, guns deep downfield. He's got a man wide open. Quincy Enunwa makes a catch at the 45, stays on his feet. He's going to go 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska. The Huskers just went 99 yards.
Next on our countdown at number 22 is Brandon Riley's game-winning catch against Michigan State during Mike Riley's first year as head coach here at Nebraska.
23 seconds left. Armstrong, and the receiver was out of bounds. He caught it. It's a touchdown, but he stepped out.
Oh, was he in? Was he out? Was it illegal? Should have been a flag. The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, it was not a flag. It was not a penalty. They made the right call. We scored the touchdown, and we got our first win against a top 10 opponent since 2001 as a result of this great play. At number 21 on our countdown is the Billy Sims fumble in 1978 on the 3-yard line in the fourth quarter going in as Oklahoma tries to beat the Huskers in Lincoln. Now, to set the stage for this play, Osborne had not beaten Oklahoma since he took over as head coach in 1972. 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77. He was 0-6. Billy Sims' fumble on this key play led to Tom Osborne's first victory over Oklahoma.
Nebraska led 17-14 with less than 2 minutes to play. Oklahoma was threatening to score when Nebraska's defense made a big play.
What I remember specifically doing is getting the ball, making eye contact with the official to make sure he's signaling our ball, and then after that, it was pretty great jubilation.
And it sticks out in my mind because it cost me another national championship. We were undefeated. We were 9-0, ranked number 1 in the country. We were the best team in the country that year.
I remember some boosters got together and had me over for dinner, and there were a few things said there that kind of indicated that maybe they felt I'd at least won my spurs, and they wanted to keep me around for a while, and that was kind of nice to hear.
Next up on our countdown, and I might catch some flack for this one, but that's okay. Regardless of how you feel about the outcome of this game, Taylor Martinez's run against Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game is one of the most impressive runs I've ever seen from a college quarterback in history. It's somewhat comparable to that Eric Crouch run versus Missouri, and that will be on our list a little bit later on, so we had to include this play as well.
Martinez in trouble, reverses, trying to break contain. Martinez up the sideline, still running, look at him, Taylor Martinez, what a run,
He's got a lane. Martinez. Wow. Taylor Martinez. Touchdown Huskers. What an athlete. 76 yards.
At number 19 on our countdown is a play that's not on the list so much for the outcome of the play, but because real men go for two.
Miami led most of the game until Nebraska made a touchdown late in the fourth quarter to draw within one.
Pass to Jeff Smith. He's to the 10. He's to the 5. He dives.
The score was Miami 31, Nebraska 30. Since Nebraska was undefeated and Miami had lost a game, Osborne could win the national championship simply by kicking an extra point and tying the score.
We had to make a decision whether to, at that point, to go for a tie or the win, because there were just a few seconds left in the game, and a lot has been made of that. I think probably too much, because I didn't feel like there was any choice. I did not sit there and consciously debate, well, do we go for the tie or do we go for the win? I just assumed that if you're going to win a national championship and in that setting, that you went for the win.
Huskers going to go for two. Down the line, Turner Gill throws into the end zone. Jeff Smith, no good. It bounced off his chest. Incomplete, and Miami keeps the lead.
If that last play got you a little bit downhearted, Husker Nation, fret not. You won't be down for very long, because next up on our list is sacking Frank Costa for a safety. If you haven't noticed, I love it when quarterbacks get sacked for a safety in national championship games.
Backfield, they're going to get it for a safety. Safety, Dwayne Harris all over Frank Costa. The Huskers get a deuce.
Also, Terry Connealy sealing Tom Osborne's first ever national championship by sacking Costa late in the fourth quarter.
And I used a spin move on their offensive guard, and somehow I got lucky and I went right by him. And I chase Frank Costa down and I get a sack. It's just a blur to me. I mean, I've seen pictures of it since then, but I can't really say that I remember it. It's kind of like I blanked it out or whatever. I was so excited and so fired up that it's almost like it didn't happen, but I know it happened because there's a picture of it that I see in all kinds of magazines and the like.
Now here's a bonus story for you fine folks at home. At halftime of this Orange Bowl, Tom Osborne addressed the team and he said at some point in the second half, somebody from Miami is going to try to start a fight with one of us.
So don't be pushing their mouth, and I don't want to see one more incident of that. Just play harder.
Lo and behold, one of the Miami offensive linemen picked a fight with defensive lineman in black shirt, Christian Peter. Out of everybody on the Huskers that year, Christian Peter would have been the most likely guy on the team to retaliate, but he did not. Miami got a personal foul, 15 yards, and it was a huge play for the Huskers in that game. Next up on our list isn't necessarily a specific play, but it's a year's worth of work and a specific game from Brooke Berringer and Matt Turman. When starting quarterback Tommy Frazier went down with a blood clot, Brooke Berringer stepped right in and led the Huskers. This is a guy that could have transferred. This is a guy that could have pouted. Instead, he came in and he had one of the best seasons a quarterback's ever had in Nebraska football history, as well as playing games with a collapsed lung. Now, let's not forget about sophomore walk-on quarterback from Nebraska, Matt Turman, making a road start against Kansas State and getting the victory in Manhattan. If he doesn't lead the team to this victory, Penn State is your 1994 national champion. So kudos to Berringer and Matt Turman.
Looking back on it now, Coach Osborne and Coach Gill were probably scared to death. We're taking our third-string quarterback, a walk-on who's $190, 5'10", and we're putting him in the game to continue our march towards a national title and to continue this undefeated season. And they have to be just scared out of their mind, but they never once showed it.
He was our Rudy. Or you have a walk-on who grew up here in Nebraska. Dream was, all I want to do is play for Nebraska. If you do a movie about Rudy, then you can do a movie about Matt Turman.
And he swings it to Lawrence Phillips.
With Matt Turman starting under center, Nebraska defeated Kansas State 17-6.
Now, we just got done talking about a whole season's worth of work from Brooke Berringer and a game's worth of work from Matt Turman that led to a national champion. Now, let's talk about some specific plays again. Let's talk about that John Rood hit versus Oklahoma from way back in the day on kickoff when he laid out the Oklahoma kick returner. And let's not forget that boomer, that phenomenal block that Kenny Bell threw in the Big Ten championship game. And just for a bonus, when Nate Gary got that interception during his return, Randy Gregory had a pretty good block himself. Love it.
He has to throw it over the middle. He finds Jamal Turner. And
what a block! Kenny Bell has the best block we've seen this year.
Illinois picks it up. A pass out the flat is intercepted. Nate Gary. He's got it at the 50. Whoa, what a block!
Oh, Greg Sharp. I think that was Randy Gregory.
Next up on our countdown is one of my favorite plays of all time, the fumble Rooski. The first time we ever ran this play was in 1978 for a touchdown versus Oklahoma, and it was ran by Randy Schlusinger. The next time we ran it was in 1984. The Orange Bowl versus Miami. Dean Steinkuhler took it to the house to get the Huskers back into the game, and the last time we ran it was 1992, Will Shields versus Colorado. This play was so awesome, so hard to stop, that the NCAA actually had to outlaw it. And just a bonus for you fine folks at home, we're going to show you the Bounce-a-Rooski from 1982 versus Oklahoma. Turner Gill to Irving Fryer to number 89 tight end Mitch Crank from Nebraska City, Nebraska, with a phenomenal catch. Number 14 on our countdown is the game-winning catch and ensuing run by Amir Abdullah versus McNeese State. Now, somebody wondered why I had this so high on the list, and I was like, think about it, folks. If we don't win this game, probably on this play, the Huskers lose to McNeese State. So that makes this play pretty darn significant.
Snap back. Armstrong looking, holding, throws out the flat pass, caught by Amir, trying to avoid the rush. He does. He has a first down, bouncing off tacklers to the 45, Amir to the 40, Amir to the 35, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Amir Abdullah. What an amazing catch and run by the All-American running back with 20 seconds to go.
I'm going to follow that up with another game winner from another Husker legend. Alex Henry's game-winning and record-setting field goal that won the game versus the Colorado Buffaloes in 2008.
It'll go in the books as the longest in school history. This is an attempt of 57 yards. Does he have enough? Is it long enough? Well, this was well outside of the range that Bo Pelini told us he thought Henry could kick. He thought it was 52, 53 yards. Who knew? Well, let me tell you, that thing would have been good from 57 and a half. I started to say nothing more.
At number 12 on our countdown is Hail Westerkamp.
Trips to the near side. Kellogg gets a shotgun snap. Final play of the game. Ron waiting for the wideouts to get downfield. Launches the throw down toward the goal line. Going up. Ball tipped in the air. Caught! Touchdown! George Westerkamp! Nebraska wins the game on the final play of the contest. Oh, baby!
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! What a scene in Lincoln, baby! Woo!
Nebraska wins the game 27-24.
Now, this is up a little bit higher than some of the others, not only because it's a game winner, but because there's two catches. The behind-the-back catch. How could we ever forget about that?
Snap back to Tommy. Sets, throws, passes.
Oh my gosh.
Caught on a deflection by Westerkamp for a first down at the 48 of Florida Atlantic. It was tipped by the defensive back into the hands of Westerkamp.
That's one of the best catches you'll ever see. Caught it behind his back. It was tipped. He caught it behind his back and got his feet in bounds. That is going to be on the highlight reels.
These are two of the best receptions and or catches you'll ever see, at least if you're a Huskers fan. Next up is one of the greatest single-game performances by any player in the history of Husker football. Roy Halou Jr. breaking and setting the single-game rushing record versus Missouri in 2010. This was a 19-year-old record that had been held by Calvin Jones, who up to that point the record was 294 yards in a single game.
Brings it out, has 5, has 10, and he's off to the races. In fact, he's going to score on the opening play from scrimmage.
In the first quarter alone, Roy Halou Jr. had 142 yards on 3 carries.
Here we go again. the sideline.
He ended the game with 28 rushing attempts for a total of 307 yards. That's an average of almost 11 yards per carry, ladies and gentlemen.
Snap back. There's the handoff to Roy Hill. He's got the midfield. Roy bursting through. 40, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown.
Think about this, you fine folks at home. He had 3 runs of over 50 yards throughout the game. 53, 66, and 73 yards. On those 3 carries alone, he had a total of 192 yards. That's an average on those carries by themselves of 64 yards per carry. In my humble opinion, that's just plain awesome. Breaking the top 10 on our countdown is the largest comeback in Nebraska football history against Ohio State in October of 2011. Ohio State had built a 21-point lead. They were up 27-6 behind freshman quarterback Braxton Miller's play. But during the third quarter, Nebraska star linebacker Levante David stripped the ball and turned the tide of the game.
Gets a first down up to the 23. Ball came out. Nebraska forces the turnover, ripping the ball out of Braxton Miller. Now, Taylor Martinez gets loose. 10-5, touchdown Nebraska. Taylor Martinez around the left side. And the Huskers have found the end zone for the first time tonight. Again, the triangle set. Turn. Take the handoff. Back to throws. Martinez looking downfield. Has a man out there. Pass caught. Touchdown. Quincy and Unwa, and the Huskers back to it in a score. Martinez now being chased, throws it out. A flat. Burkhead makes a catch. Sits a tackle. 25-20, 15-10, 5. Rex Burkhead. Touchdown Nebraska. And the Huskers are to within a point. Back. Bowserman has time. Launches one down the field looking for Philly Brown. And a pass. Intercepted. Picked off. Picked off by Stanley Jean-Baptiste. Formation, turn, toss it back to Burkhead off the left side. Rex has a seam, 15, 10, Burkhead 5, dives, he's in, touchdown Nebraska, and the Huskers have come all the way back, and they have the lead.
How about the biggest comeback in school history?
At number 9 in our countdown is Mike Rozier's Heisman Trophy moment. His great run, reversing field and making the UCLA defense look absolutely silly.
Whoa, he's coming back to the near side. All the way from the left side to the right side goes near.
En route to winning the Heisman Trophy. The number 8 play on our countdown, there's absolutely nothing fancy about it, but it led to the first ever national championship for the Husker football program.
It's Jerry Taggy calling signals after a 67-yard march. And on a quarterback keeper, he dives for the goal line.
The 1971 Orange Bowl. With the Huskers down 12-10, just over 8 minutes left in the game, Jerry Taggy, the quarterback, scores from 1 yard out, giving the Huskers the 17-12 victory and their first ever national championship. The next 2 spots on our countdown are saved for 2 of the best defensive tackles in the history of Nebraska and Blackshirt football. At number 7, Ndamukong Suh. Who could ever forget the interception versus Colorado and the ensuing stomping of the Colorado quarterback en route to Suh, returning it for a touchdown.
2nd and 10. Hawkins in the gun gets the snap. Sets, throws, batted down, intercepted. Ndamukong Suh. Suh to the 20, 15. Hawkins traps him, knocks him, touchdown Suh. Ndamukong Suh's 2nd touchdown of the year. How about that for Ndamukong Suh?
The stadium is blowing up, and Suh goes into the end zone, and he throws it against the wall behind the end zone. What a play.
This sideline is absolutely going bonkers. Guys, imagine this. Alamo Bowl officials down here. He's jumping up high-fiving people. Mary Pat Pelini's down here. She's in tears. It's emotional.
And let's not forget about that, Big 12 championship game where Ndamukong Suh threw around Colt McCoy like a rag doll. Suh! That's all you need to say. Next up on our countdown at number 6 is another Husker and Blackshirt and defensive line legend, Rich Glover. In the game of the century in 1971 against the Oklahoma Sooners, he set a record with 22 tackles in that game. Now, for the sake of time, we're not going to show you all 22 tackles, but these plays we're about to show you are pretty dominant.
The game, Chris, has come down to one snap. The season has come down to one snap for both of these teams.
Now, some of you might be wondering why Sue's great performances are ranked slightly behind Rich Glover's on this countdown. Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, it's a toss-up. At number 5 on our countdown are 2 plays that led to Tom Osborne's first ever national championship. Along with the great defensive plays we showed you earlier, there is this fullback by the name of Corey Schlesinger, who scored not 1, but 2 15-yard touchdowns and the game winner in the fourth quarter against the Miami Hurricanes to seal Tom Osborne's first ever national championship.
First and 10 at the 15 of Miami. Tommy under center. Has a snap from Graham. And he gives it off. It's inside the 10, inside the 5, and it's Corey Schlesinger. Touchdown! 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 Cornhuskers! Schlesinger and Phillips in the eye, the snap to Tommy, and the give on the trap play, and it's Schlesinger inside the 5, and there for the touchdown! He's got the touchdown! It's the touchdown for Corey Schlesinger, and Nebraska takes the lead with 2:46 left to go in the ballgame.
Now, just for kicks and grins, and because the Hurricanes like to talk a lot, enjoy this footage of Miami defensive tackle Warren Sapp sucking air. Can you say Husker power? And while we're on the subject of great Nebraska fullbacks, Corey Schlesinger, let's throw in a bonus play for you. I love smash mouth football, I love fullbacks, and I think you're going to love this Joel Makovica run.
He's down to the 4-yard, still on his feet, he's in! Second, third, and fourth effort, and Makovica scores!
And as we inch closer to the top spot on our countdown, the number 4 slot is reserved for Heisman Trophy winner Eric Crouch. Now we're going to show you 3 great plays. We're going to start off with one of the most memorable plays in recent Husker memory, Black 41 flash reverse pass. Then you're going to enjoy his 95-yard record-setting run versus Missouri in 2001. And just for fun, let's watch him truck an Iowa defensive back too.
So now here are the Huskers at the 36-yard line. First down and 10 to go. Here's a handoff to Thunder, who gives it back to Mike Stuntz. He's going to throw it. He's got a man out there at the 40. It is Eric Crouch. 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Yes!
You may have wondered why Mike Stuntz was coming on the field earlier, and we see why right there. Woo! A quick run to the right, and then a pitch back to Mike Stuntz, and then the left-hander drills the ball to the screaming Eric Crouch.
He goes in motion to the left. Eric Crouch pumps once, is in trouble, eludes a tackle, gets out of the end zone. He's to the 5, he's to the 10, Crouch to the 15, out across the 20, Crouch to the 25, out across the 30, 35, 40. Look out, he could go. He's to the 40, he's to the 30, he's to the 20, he's to the 10, he's all the way!
Totally unbelievable.
We're down to the final 3 slots on the top 25 greatest plays and moments in the history of Nebraska football. What 3 plays is it going to be, and what play is going to take our top spot on this countdown? Let's proceed, shall we? At number 3 could arguably be the most important play in the history of Nebraska football. I can't think of any other single play where you can point to it and say, if that play doesn't happen, we don't have a national championship. Yeah, it was a little bit lucky, but sometimes you got to make your own luck. Enjoy the flea kicker, a.k.a. the catch.
Third down. Frost to the middle. Juggle. Diving touchdown, Nebraska. Davison on the deflection. Nebraska's a point away from tying the game.
The
ball's in slow motion, just floating like a punt, end over end. And, you know, I guess instinct takes over from there. You just kind of, I came here to catch the football, you know. Maybe not quite like that, but I got one catch there.
At number 2 on our countdown is without a doubt one of the greatest Huskers and college football players, period, of all time. Now, he had 2 of the best punt returns you'll ever see. In 1971, basically a national championship game against Oklahoma. And if you look at what that Oklahoma team did, along with the '83 Huskers, they're arguably the best team in college football history to never win a national championship. Johnny the Jet Rodgers. Man, woman, and child, did he put them in the aisle. Let's be honest, I can't do it justice. Let's let the man take it away.
Here's Wiley's kick, gets high. It holds up there. Rodgers takes the ball at the 30. He's hit and got away. Back upfield to the 35, to the 40. He's to the 45. He's to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 20, to the 10. He's all the way home. Holy moly! Man, woman, and child did that. Put him in the aisle. Johnny the Jet Rodgers just tore them loose from their shoes.
I think this here means more to us now than winning the Orange Bowl last year when we're national champions in, because we feel we're national champions right now. Right now. And ain't nobody stopping us. This year, next year either.
And let's follow that play up by another great punt return for a touchdown in the actual national championship game in the Orange Bowl against Alabama. And that funny hat wearing, all due respect, Mr. Paul Bear Bryant. Enjoy this, Husker fans.
Observe closely, as you will see the biggest play in this ball game. The Tide's punt by God is received by Johnny Rodgers at the Nebraska 23. Rodgers, dipsy-doodle, faking, and speed is too much for Alabama.
With back-to-back national championships in 1970 and 71, Nebraska seemed invincible on the field.
Who's going to take the top slot on our countdown? How many tackles can one man break? If you were to put together a list of the greatest college football plays in history, several of these plays would be on there. But this play might take the top spot all by itself, and it takes the top spot on our Husker greatest plays and moments countdown in history. Enjoy.
And an option to the right. Tommy on the keep, turns the corner, 25-30. Eludes a tackler, 35. Tommy Frazier, 37, 38, 39, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. He's going to go. Holy cow. Touchdown, Tommy Frazier.
Well, all 3 of their tailbacks are over 7 yards per carry average.
Frazier adding more numbers, more yards to those.
Oh, they don't have him yet. Look at Tommy Frazier. How many tackles can one man break? Touchdown.
Great players.
His second touchdown run of the night, 14 carries, make it 195, a career high.
How many tackles can one man break? I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. As a kid, I would sit at home and I would rewind this play on my VCR, VHS over and over and over, trying to figure out how many tackles he broke. I finally arrived at the number 1,000,000. Seems pretty accurate to me. Now we have 4 more moments in Husker history that are just almost impossible to put a ranking next to. So they get their very own special spot on our highlight tape. These 4 moments hold a very special place in the heart of every single Husker fan. And we're going to kick it off with the spring game immediately following the passing of Brooke Behringer. After that, we're going to follow it up with the Rice game, the first game the Huskers played after the attacks on 9/11. Next up will be the unforgettable Jack Hoffman run. And finally, last year, the first game of the season, the first punt of the year against Fresno State, honoring Sam Foltz. I'm going to step away because I can't talk and do these moments justice. I will let them speak for themselves.
48,000 fans bow their heads for a moment of silence.
They paid last respects to number 18, Nebraska football hero, Brooke Behringer.
Jack Hoffman, who's been adopted really by this football team, a young man who has battled brain cancer, is on the field right now for the Huskers. So Taylor gets the shotgun set, gives it to Jack. Here he goes. He's got blockers out in front.
There he
Jack
goes.
is running to midfield. Listen to this crowd as Jack Hoffman, a young man that, as I mentioned, has really been adopted by this football team, just scored a touchdown.
Oh, wow. What a moment.
And both benches empty. And folks, Huskers in punt formation, but there's no punter back there. Nebraska is going to take a delay game. And Husker Nation, permission to shed a tear.
Delay a game, kicking team. Penalties decline. Remains 4th down.
All right, Husker fans, I hope you've enjoyed our top 25 plays and moments in Nebraska football history. I'm Adam Carriker, former Husker Blackshirt, 8-year NFL defensive lineman. Some of these plays got me psyched. Some of these moments got me teary-eyed. Regardless, I've enjoyed this countdown, and all these Husker plays get me personally a little bit emotional. Now, let us know. Did you like some of the plays we had on? Did we leave some good plays off? Do you not like the order? If you don't like it, tough luck. I'm just messing with you. We'd love to hear what you have to say. And until next time, Husker Nation, go Big Red. And always remember to throw the ball.